Okay, so we're back. We've been watching Nancy, The Secret Structure of Great Talks. Right now, the number one thing I keep jumping on is the fact that she's got these great ideas without any specific examples. And she keeps introducing more ideas, but because there's no foundation of something of specific example, very quickly it's just general idea, general idea, general idea, and there's nothing that I can like legitimately walk away with except for this great idea that I can't make practical. Right now she's
When
talking
you're
about how
sailing
to overcome
against the wind
resistance.
and there is wind resistance, you have to move
I
your
mean,
boat
this is a
back
great
and forth
analogy.
and back and forth.
It just needed a
That's so you can
specific to
capture the wind.
to
You have
like
to actually capture the
juxtapose
resistance coming against you when you're sailing.
a dichotomy.
Now, interesting, if you capture the wind just right and you set your sail just right, your ship will actually sail faster than the wind itself. It's a physics phenomenon. So by planting in there the way they're going to resist between what is and what can be, it's actually going to draw them towards your idea quicker than should you not do that.
I mean, you listen to that, right? And you're like, okay, I got it. Like, I understand it intuitively. But if, Nancy, if you brought up Steve Jobs and Martin Luther King, I mean, they're so played out, but whatever, you brought that up. Why not give us examples from those two speeches of this to show us that you not only are giving us a bunch of theory, but you can apply it?
So after you've moved back and forth between what is and what could be, the last turning point is a call to action, which every presentation should have. But at the very end, you need to describe the world as a new bliss. This is utopia with my idea adopted. This is the way the world is going to look when we join together and we solve this big problem.
So again, I'm hoping this is probably because this is super easy because that's kind of the only thing. A person is judged by the strength of their character and a world where everyone is always connected and whatever Steve Jobs thing was.
So you need to use that as your
Let's see.
ending,
Please give me
in a
that
very
specific
poetic
at least.
in a dramatic way.
Please give me that specific.
So, interestingly, when I was done, I was like, you know what? I could use this as an analysis tool. I actually transcribe speeches and I would actually map out
Okay.
how much they map.
So maybe all my other videos are full of shit. And now we're going to get specifics. I mean, honestly, you should have had them throughout, but let's hope that now she's going to give us and she's going to show specific examples.
To this tool. So I want to show you some of that today, and I want to start with the very two people that I used when I first did.
Okay.
Here's Mr. Jobs. Completely has changed the world. Changed the world of personal computing. He's changed the music industry. Now he's on his way to change the mobile device industry. So he's definitely changed the world. And this is the shape of his iPhone launch, 2007, when he launched his iPhone. It's a 90-minute talk. You can see.
I'm hoping you're going to get one example of like a resistance, a thing.
He starts with what is, traverses back and forth, and ends with what could be.
For example?
So I want to zoom in on this.
Yes, yes.
The white line is him speaking.
Yes.
He's talking. The next color line you'll see popped up there, that's when he cuts to video. So he's adding some variety and he cuts to demo. So it's not just him talking the whole time. And these lines.
Zero to do with what what you spent the first 10 minutes of your presentation talking on. Haven't talked about that at all. This is just, and you're adding it like it somehow helps, but it doesn't. It's just new ideas that have no foundation in what your speech is about.
Are representative there. And then towards the end, you'll see a blue line, which will be the guest speaker. So this is where it gets kind of interesting. Every tick mark here is when he made them laugh. And every tick mark here is when he made them clap.
By saying what? By doing what? Again, it's so if you would have told me one what is and one what could be, like just the literal things he said, then I would understand more. Because right now you're building a theoretical structure on theory and theory and theory and theory without one practical example. And I know you think you're giving me an example, but what did he say? Ask anyone in that audience right now. Yeah, can you give me an example of what is in the Steve Jobs thing? And they'd be like,
They are so involved physically. They are
How?
physically reacting to what
To
he's
what?
saying.
What did he say?
Fantastic, because then you know you have the audience like in your hand. So he kicks off what could be. With this as a day I have been looking forward to for 2.5 years. So he's launching a product that he's known about already for a couple years. So this is not a new product to him. But look at this. He does this other thing. He marvels. He marvels at his own product. He marvels himself more than the audience laughs or claps. So he's like, isn't it awesome? Isn't this beautiful?
that isn't what could be. Maybe you're talking about this part, but I thought you were saying I thought you just said that this is what it could be. But that isn't what it could be. That's him like just saying I'm really excited. He's setting it up.
Beautiful. And he's modeling for the audience what he wants them to feel. So he is actually doing a job of compelling them to feel a certain way.
Great.
So
And guess what? You haven't talked about that at all. You said like that that a story makes you feel something, and that's the best thing I could relate. But it's not part of your structure that you've introduced at all. That this is where you make people feel. And it's also I'm not exactly sure like what the intro, if that's where the emotion is. I guess.
so he kicks off with what could be with
No, he didn't.
every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. So he starts to kick in and talk about his new product. Now, at the beginning of it, he actually keeps the phone off. You'll see that the line is pretty white up until this point. So he goes off between, here's this new phone, and here's the sucky competitors, and here's this new phone, and here's the sucky competitors.
Okay, at least that's when we're getting, that's what we're getting. But you could have made that even more specific if you wanted to. And this is finally we're getting into like something that I can actually like latch onto. Every phone still uses buttons. This is just a screen. People like to play only one game on a Nokia. Any game you want. You like taking pictures? No camera or crappy quality, HD camera. That you could have said that.
And then right about here, he has the star moment, and that's something we'll always remember. What he does, he turns the phone on. The audience sees scrolling for the first time. You can hear.
Literally the first time you brought up star moment, unless I've forgotten. I mean, I know like I recorded the other video a couple of days ago, but this is the first time you talked about a star moment. In the triangle, when you talked about the triangle, you had the climax. Is this, and then you could have drawn a parallel between the climax and this.
Hear the oxygen suck down the room. They gasped. You can actually hear it. So he creates a moment that they'll always remember. Mm-hmm. So if we move along this model, you can see the blue where the external speakers are going, and then over towards the bottom right, the line breaks. That's because his clicker broke. So what does he do? He wants to keep this heightened sense of excitement.
Yeah.
He tells a personal story right there where the technology didn't work.
By your own example, that this personal story when the introduction should have been this whole thing. No? Isn't that what we've been talking about the whole time?
So here's the master communicator, and he turns to story to keep the audience involved. So the top right.
How? Like, what did he do within the story? Just saying use a story is not enough because everyone's like, yeah, no duh. You have to give me tools for the story besides what is and what could be, because you haven't given me any specifics of what is and what could be. You could throw it out to the audience and say, what's a presentation you've had to have done lately? Okay, so give me an example of what is and what could be. Think about that right now. Everyone do it right now. I'll pick someone else at random. By the way, if you do that, you'll wake the whole crowd up. And you'll make them the hero again. This is me trying to use your ideas, right? Not just talking about in theory, but you got to be able to back this up.
Right, he ends with the new bliss. He leaves them with a promise that Apple will continue to build revolutionary new products. And he says, there's an old Wayne Gretzky quote that I love. I skate to where the puck is going to be, not to where it's been. We've always tried to do that at Apple and from the very, very beginning, and we always will. So he ends with the new bliss. So let's look.
Okay, sure. Again, like I said, we are 11 minutes into a 20, over halfway through. And I would love to see some day-to-day practicality to some of this stuff. And I think that would make this a little bit stronger. My own personal opinion. My very opinionated personal opinion.
Look at Mr. King. He was amazing visionary. He's a clergyman.
Actually, you know what? Let's end this video here because we've kind of gone through her Steve Jobs thing. I'm almost positive it's going to be the exact same thing. She's going to give us a quote of one thing he says at the beginning and a quote that she does at the end. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, it's not that this speech is bad. It's quite good. It's better than most speeches we hear. And she's trying to do some things that are interesting. It's the practicality. And if you're saying that the audience is the hero and we are the Yoda, I'm using your own agenda, then you have to empower me with tools, right? Yoda didn't just talk to Luke Skywalker about the Force. Yoda made a plane lift up. Yoda made things move to show what was possible in a specific way. Could we not do this here?